Hey, what's going on, Podcast Nation? It is Jason Harris here, and thank you for joining me in another episode of Strategy with Jason. Today I have a very special guest. I have the infamous, the oh-so-famous, the one and only, Andrew Lemoine with me.
Welcome to the Strategy with Jason podcast. Tune in for everything you need to know to stay in the know regarding the automotive industry. Here's your host, Jason Harris.
Andrew, what's up?
What's up, brother?
Did you like that? It's a decent intro, right?
It's good, buddy. Yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah. I can mess with that.
You can get into that.
Yeah.
Hey, Andrew, for everybody out there that's watching and listening right now who kind of don't know who you are, what your background is, I always like to kick off these podcasts with a little origin story because, A, I'm always fascinated to find out how people got started in the business.
Yeah.
So how did you get started in this crazy little world we call the automotive industry?
Well, it was a fluke. You know, I like for so many of us, it's such a similar story. So I was looking for a job in between high school and college, and I got a job washing cars.
Okay.
Right, 17 years old, washing cars. And within, I think, 3 months of washing cars, I started selling them.
Oh, that didn't take long?
It did not take long, no. I was cleaning these guys' deliveries. I'm looking at them going, they're not doing anything I can't do. In fact, I can do it better. And so I closed the dealer principal on giving me an opportunity to sell cars. And he said no at first, actually. Told me, come back when you're old enough to buy me beer, and I'll give you a shot. And anyways, I ended up taking it up later that day and selling my first car. So fell in love with the business right away, and there was no looking back.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So did a lot of retail, about a decade of retail before I left retail and then got into tech.
Yes.
And so for those of you that don't know me, my name is Andrew Lemoine. I'm the CEO and founder of Autocorp.ai. And so we're reinventing auto finance.
You do some cool stuff.
Yeah.
So we're here in downtown Las Vegas. All right, being two Canadian boys, we're enjoying the weather here, right?
Now hold on, like when I landed,
oh yeah,
I thought the plane fucked up and we were still in Canada.
it was cold.
Yeah.
It was cold. Not today though. I
No.
mean, it looks like it is sunny and
The sun came out, yeah.
it is a good 74 degrees.
Yeah.
Yes, I can flip back and forth between Fahrenheit and Celsius pretty quick.
Well, you are the dual citizen, my man.
That's right. But hey, we're at NADA, and there's just a lot of cool stuff. I mean, look, first thing first, it is great to be back, is it not?
So good, man. So good.
Right? Like 2 years.
There's something to this. Like,
No,
I can touch you, brother. I can
know.
touch you. You're not on my screen.
We're not wearing a mask. Is
No.
that not weird? Okay, every single time I go to grab that door and I want to enter in, I almost try to like go to my back pocket. And I'm looking for. Oh wait, I don't need that
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
It feels like we're just like normal people.
It's
actually
2019.
look at each other in the face.
It's 2019. We
It's
landed
amazing.
in 2019.
It's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's good.
But you know what? I think the last 24 months has obviously done some pretty amazing things to the industry.
Absolutely.
From an operations perspective, from a marketing perspective, from a financing perspective. And I think we're seeing kind of that really kind of shine here at NADA, you know, especially in where the new companies are. Like, I love the fact they have one section where it's just all dedicated to like up and coming or newcomers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because there's some cool stuff going on over there. But I'd love to kind of hear from you. What's caught your eye? What's getting you excited?
Well, we were talking about this before we started recording, but it is cool because you can go around and see all these new companies and businesses that actually got started during the pandemic.
Yep.
And there's been so many startups I talked to, and it was like, hey, you know, when did you guys incorporate? Like, when did you get started? 2020, 2020, 2020. Like, everyone I'm talking to is 2020. And so, because what happened is so many of the problems our industry is facing really got brought to the surface during the pandemic.
Yep.
And so, there's been some of us that have been talking about these things for a while. They just weren't as prominent. They weren't as urgent. They were easier to ignore. You didn't really have to. There was progressive dealers that did, but you didn't really have to focus on it kind of pre. Again, those that did, were kind of ahead of the game and were winning, but a lot didn't. And then what happened was, okay, I got to focus on this. I have to pay attention to our digital strategy. I have to pay attention to, you know, how are we virtually retailing cars? You know, what does that process in the store look like? And so a lot of the problems got brought to the surface, and so it created a lot of opportunity. And that's what we're seeing today. We're seeing so many problem solvers.
Yes, a lot of problem solvers. But what I think is cool is that they're solving real problems, not just generating a problem so they can solve the problem.
Yeah, right.
Right? Like
Yeah.
these are actual legitimate problems. And you know what, the thing I love about all of the new companies that I've interacted with so far is that they're all data driven.
Yeah.
Right? It's not a wish I could, thought I could, maybe I could.
Yeah.
You know, it is there's some data element to almost every single company that I've talked to, and they're making intelligent decisions.
100%. Like, data is king. Using proper insights and BI to make the decisions, data-driven decisions, is what you have to do. Look, at AutoCorp, Jason, we could have launched our product and our company a year before we did, if we wanted to just try to do the clickbait dataless thing. And we didn't. You know, we stuck through it, and you know, we're partners with Equifax, and that leverage of the data and the soft pull ability with the credit was really, really important to us. And again, we had opportunities to release kind of our products way sooner with a lot less data, and the value prop just wasn't there for me. It wasn't something that I could get behind and really put passion and feel good about, you know, selling to dealers. So you nailed it. Like, you know, data is king.
Well, and the cool thing is, the data, let's call it IQ, of dealers this year is strong.
It is.
Like the data force is strong in these ones. No,
Yeah.
I'm getting geeky. But no, it is. Like, I mean, they're coming in with great questions.
Yeah.
All right. The dealers I'm seeing at the show are very much like they got a grocery list.
Yeah.
All right. They're not here to shop.
Yeah.
All right. They're like, I'm getting my eggs, I'm getting my milk, I'm getting my cereal, I'm going there, and I'm going there. And but the questions that are being asked are data-driven questions.
Yeah.
Like, how do you guys do this?
Yeah.
How do you attribute that model?
Yeah.
Right. How do you calculate that? Like, I gotta be honest with you, 5 years ago, I heard very few of those types of questions.
You know, that's a really good observation. Like, even like, we actually brought our CTO and our lead developer with us, which is so important, because I find too many companies leave the dev brains behind the scenes and they don't bring them out. So we tend to always bring our sales and our marketing people to these shows.
Yep.
You gotta get your product people involved. Because like our CTO, like Josh,
more CTOs and more developers I think, at the show than I've ever seen.
He's walking around with a full notebook, right? And so, and kind of to go on what you were just saying, he's had some really intelligent conversations with dealers. Dealers are asking really in-depth questions now that you just didn't hear 2-3 years ago around technologies and tech stacks and product development. And so yeah, it's cool. As a whole industry, you can just feel and see and hear the evolution.
Yes. And it's not just necessarily how each person's using the data, but also how that data is being shared among the rest of their vendor stew.
Yeah.
I call it the vendor stew.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, because you have a bit of this and a dash of that, and a little core of this, and and it's supposed to taste good. But yeah, they're looking for that.
Yeah.
Right. They don't. It seems like they're getting very kind of tired of having these isolated systems.
Yeah.
That don't communicate and cross-share data back and forth.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you have some new companies are coming out like Techion, who's completely agnostic.
Sure.
And it says, I'm going to literally work with anybody and everybody.
Yeah.
And it's like, you start seeing some of these other dinosaurs really start to follow suit. Oh crap! Oh, I better get on that bandwagon too.
Yeah.
All right, I better.
But it's good. Like we need that. So like Techion, for example, great example. Like companies like that splash on the scene overnight, they wake everyone up.
Yeah.
And so the only people that are going to win when more and more new companies like that come out are the dealers.
Yes, 100%.
Right? So it's good. We need that. Yeah, we need that.
But I still think they're look, we're seeing some really cool progressive dealers. All right, but there's still a good chunk of dealers out there that are not discussing data system strategies.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not saying they're still looking for the quick fix. Maybe some of them are. You know, there's still a fair amount of them looking for the easy button. And I don't know if it's a mindset issue or if it's a complacency issue. What do you think?
Look, I think that there's a lot of hurdles that they're also experiencing during this. And so obviously the biggest one being inventory. And so what our sales team runs into, I think the biggest objection that we get right now is obviously inventory. So even if they're viewing, our technology saying, oh wow, like this thing will actually generate us the most, qualified, verified credit app that our store's ever got online. You guys have an excellent conversion ratio. Our dealers are kind of experiencing between a 15 and a 20% conversion. Here's the problem, Andrew. We don't have any cars to sell. And so, but what they're doing is they're kind of putting off their digital strategy for when their inventory is replenished, when we're saying, no, there's no better time than right now.
Yes.
because you have time to focus on other things and prepare for the storm, because we all know what's coming.
Yes.
Right, and so they've just gone through some of their most profitable years despite the inventory crunch.
Yep.
And it's going to be followed up by I think another couple of really, really good years. New car sales are going to be off the chart.
New car sales are going to be off the chart. But we were talking a little bit about this before we got online, because I was telling you about that post I put out there.
Yeah,
it's like there are some
controversial guy.
Oh, I know, right?
Jason Harris always pushing the thread.
You know what though? But their conversations need to be had. Mm-hmm. You know, like I remember one I did the year before where I talked about how like I said the used car manager is the most useless position inside of a dealership.
I remember that one actually.
But you had to go a little deeper into kind of what the context was, right? But this one was all about price gouging.
Right.
And yes, I think we're definitely coming into an amazing storm of sales. Yep. It's going to be it's just everything's just going to kind of collide exactly at the right moment. But I think right now there are just so many bad practices. It makes me really worried.
Well, look, we can't be short-sighted, and we're seeing some short-sighted dealers out there with the price gouging. I mean, there's an opportunity. There's cash on the table. Look, there's cash on the dash, and it's hard to not want to take it all off. But we know that in our industry, just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. And we've faced this before. We've been here before. Okay, we face this daily in our F&I offices.
Well, that's true.
Okay,
this is not a new thing. This
is not a new thing where you need to do the ethical and the moral check and ask yourselves: are you there to actually build and win a customer for life? Or are you there to make as most money as you can off that customer that day? And obviously, any dealer with a long-term strategy and that cares about their CSI, is going to be careful. Now, we also were talking about that it's kind of a whirlwind for the consumer right now, because it's more than even just new cars are selling for over list. So they're selling for over list, but what's going on is to sell it over list, you got to RDR the thing.
Yes.
And so now it's actually a pre-owned, so you're buying it with 200 kilometers, 200 miles, yep. or 100 miles, and now you've also just pulled the captive
yes.
rates from the client. And so not only am I charging the customer over MSRP,
exactly.
but I'm not able to offer my subvented captive rates. They lost, the 0% or the 0.9 financing. They lost the ability to lease. Look, I just went through it. I tried to. I was just looking. I was looking at a Shelby, yep. and then I was looking at a Mach, and the Mach actually leases out really well with Ford Credit. Yeah. And they're like, and the Mach's brand new. It's in the showroom. It's yep. brand new. There's no mileage on it, right? Like, it's used. But,
see?
And I said, but it's not.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should. I mean, but guys, it's price, demand, and supply and demand. Like, come off it. Just because you can doesn't necessarily mean you should. I mean, look, that customer's going to come back 3-4 years from now.
Yeah.
All right. They did not have subvented rates. They paid $15,000 over list. They also probably bought another $4,000-$5,000 worth of stuff in the F&I office. And these guys are going to be $35,000 upside down.
100%.
There's not a finance company in the world that's going to want to touch that paper.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Like, oh, but it's the customer's choice. They decided to do it. Well, okay, fine. They decided to do it. But you think they're going to remember that
now,
in 3 to 4 years?
There's also something to be said, though, okay, like with my dealer hat on, is that I'm not going to sell you a new car, my customer, so he could or she could go flip it on a classified site tomorrow and make the $15K. And so what we're starting to see is some mutual agreements between dealers and consumers. And I think that that's a more realistic and fair approach. They shouldn't be able to, like, for example, in Canada, right, one of the biggest things that we have to be conscious of is an immediate export.
Sure.
And so, look, I'm going to sell you one of my only F-150 Lariats, okay? And,
yep.
But you can't go flip the thing and export it tomorrow because I couldn't.
Yep.
Right, and so there has to be kind of I think a mutually beneficial agreement between the dealers and the consumers to build that relationship. Now, there's never been a better time to do that. Retention is never going to be higher. Pull ahead, trade in and trade ups has never been better, right?
So trade in and trade ups.
Yeah.
So here's what sometimes I get caught up in words, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why. Sometimes there'll be a word that just gets caught up in my head and I can't get it out of my head. I've decided I I hate the word trade up. I hate the word trade in. I hate it.
Okay.
I hate it. Right? Because
Why?
Well, because I hear salespeople utilize the language. I hear BDRs utilize the language, and then our damn websites even have a form that says trade in.
Right.
Well, as a consumer, why the hell are you assuming I want to trade in the vehicle? Like, what? That just sounds so bad, right? Like, okay, so you're kind of implying like I intend to purchase something from you, but in reality, just be the source of information. Can I not just simply ask a question? What's the car worth right now? You know, I can ask the question of what's the financing rate, and you'll answer it.
Oh, I get what you're saying. So you're just actually saying that the action point doesn't need to be framed as.
I think it's a bad word.
Are you trading it? Are you trading it in?
Yeah, curious what your vehicle's worth.
So what would So you would suggest something like,
I want to be the source of that information.
hey, let me get you a complimentary appraisal or complimentary valuation.
Appraisal, right?
Don't even like appraisal.
All it is, the customer is just simply curious what their vehicle's worth right now. They've been hearing words and conversation around how used car prices are hyperinflated and so on and so forth. And like, maybe I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I'm just curious right now. Can someone not just feed my curiosity? And then if my curiosity piques legitimate interest, who do you think I want to go to?
Right.
The person who fulfilled my curiosity.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just, the language is just like, even at the sales desk level, right? Like, so let's talk about your trade-in. Why are you assuming I'm trading something in? You know, like, it's just like, how about we talk about how you're going to buy my car from me?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, but you know, you also have to be conscious that the worst thing that happens is when the trade gets brought in, when the deal's already done. And so as a dealer, you want to discover up front if there is a trade.
Oh, the deal's been done. The deal's been done. I'll buy the car from you. I don't give a crap if you. I mean, look, does anybody really give a crap if they buy a car from me, right? Like, I'm gonna buy whatever I can buy right now.
Yeah.
All right. You want to sell it to me before you buy a car from me. You want to sell it to me after you buy a car from me. I don't give a crap. I'm still buying.
Right.
You know, everybody's in a buying mode.
Yeah.
Like this. No one's in a trade-in mode. You know, hey, because I don't even have the bloody inventory to trade in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, here's the other thing too. It's like, let's just put the paper together. Just put the bloody thing on paper. I find the most proactive dealerships out there right now are looking at 6 to 9 months out, not 30 to 60 days out.
Sure.
All right, like they already know from a revenue perspective what they're going to make 9 months from now. All right, based on the paper that they put together.
Yeah.
You know, here's another language when I've talked about this a few times, but it just blows my mind. Like the word order. I hate the word order. Like, you actually start seeing this a lot right now in the manufacturers and a couple progressive dealers. They start using the word reservation.
Yeah.
What's cool about a reservation? There's flexibility.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If I gotta move something around, I'll move something around a little bit, right?
Sure.
Right? Just put me on paper,
Yeah.
take my reservation. When we get a little closer, okay, let's finish that build out.
Yeah.
Let's decide then. You know, I just did my F-150, right? The
Yeah.
Lightning.
Yeah.
So I did my reservation, what?
When did you do yours?
November?
When did you do yours?
You know? I just did it a few weeks ago.
I did it 8 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I did the reservation 8 months ago, but I just did the build out a few weeks ago.
Oh,
so they called me up. They go, "Hey Jay, it's time."
I gotta call my dealer. I haven't got that call yet.
See, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
You should have. Actually, I think it has to happen by the end of the month. To be honest with you, you better call your dealer.
Pause the podcast. I gotta send a message. Yeah. Yeah. Because did you see the loaded one at the show? It's sick.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to get the Platinum. I'm going to get the XLT. But I had that conversation with them,
Yeah.
right? They're like, okay, cool. All right. And then I thought it was super cool. You know what the dealership asked me? They're like, all right, so this is how much time it's going to take. All right, this is what we need to just lock in the vehicle. And I said, that's cool. They're like, well, what about, any vehicles? Are you possibly want to trade something in? Do we need to buy something? Like, what's the scenario? I said, well, yeah, but I mean, like, what are you going to give it to me now versus what are you going to give it to me then? Well, you know what? Here's what we can do. We can give you a price right now, but we'll charge you another $2,500, all right, to lock in the trade-in value today. I said, excuse me? So $2,500 to lock in my order, another $2,500, all right, to lock in my trade-in value. I was like, absolutely, here you go.
Yeah.
And I thought that was smart because really, to your point, all right, how many of these people are putting in reservations just hoping they're just going to flip the thing when the thing actually comes in? Right. So now they got me locked in. They got $5,000 of my money.
Yeah.
Right. In my head, they're already taking my vehicle. It's all been done.
Yeah. You don't got to worry about the market shift interchanging.
No.
Yeah. There's probably an insurance play there too. That's actually a neat.
There is.
Yeah. That's like a neat policy, like a future trade voucher insurance.
That's a product we should build.
Yeah.
There we go.
That'll be the next one, man. That'll be the next one. So talking about auto tech, I'm sitting here and we're doing a podcast and just making sure she's okay because we're here in Vegas and then I got pinged from my Ford Connect app on my Apple Watch that there was just a collision fault. Doesn't mean there was a collision, but there was a fault.
Okay.
Because back home, I think we got hit with like 15 centimeters of snow. So my wife's driving my truck, and I'm just making sure that she just didn't get in a collision.
Amazing.
But it's probably just the sensors are blocked from snow, right? Because that's why it's just a sensor fault.
Yes.
But we're just talking about technology, right? Like, look at that. Like here we are in Vegas. I just got pinged that my truck back in Ottawa has a sensor fault on my watch, and then I'm texting my wife, who's probably receiving it through CarPlay in the truck. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
But I love that. And look, I the connectivity portion, right?
Yeah.
Like what OEMs are able to do now with the connectivity of it. I think there's a lot that dealers can learn from that model.
Yeah.
Right? Like when I think of like a dealer to consumer connectivity, right? Like we don't really have one.
Right.
Right.
It's
just like we try to pick it up from time to time, but we don't necessarily have this immediate connectivity place, right?
Yeah.
But I do see some new systems, some new platforms out there, Matador being one of the ones that we're working with, where it's just like, no, it's like you can connect anytime, anywhere, at any moment.
Yeah, I like what you guys are doing at Matador. Matador is, really, really cool. Like conversational commerce is where it's at.
And there's some great companies out there that are doing it. Not a whole lot, but I feel like there's a good dozen. But we're gonna start seeing a lot more of that.
Yeah.
Where it's look, yes, it's conversational commerce. But then it's also after the commerce.
Right.
It's like it's like having, it's like kind of like kicking old school. When you had your, your guy, your car guy.
Yeah.
You're just like, the one guy you can call and just like,
Sure.
hey, there's any of this.
Yeah.
Now it's just it's a simple text.
Right.
Right. And it's just anybody at the dealership can be available at any given moment to answer any type of question or concern that's there. And it's just like this is just one quick, safe place with immediate, meaningful connection to my dealer.
Yeah.
I was about 15 years ago, live chat came out, right?
Yeah.
I thought we had it then. I was like, yes, I'm so stoked, all right? Like someone can literally be on my website, click a button, immediate connection with my team.
Yeah.
They're gonna have meaningful conversations, all right? By the time they come in to either service their vehicle or sell their vehicle, we're gonna shorten that time span really, really fast. And then in the industry, what did? We screwed it up. We turned it into a damn lead generation product.
Sure.
The intent of all, we're the only vertical that does that, by the way. If you look at every other vertical that utilizes live chat, it is either designed to support and assist the consumer in whatever they're looking for, either through the purchasing journey or on the support side of the
inform them. Like just inform them with what information are you looking for.
We're the only ones that took that tech and decided to turn it into a lead generation with the intent of getting your first name, last name, email address, phone number, blood type, shoe size, and firstborn.
Sure.
Just so I can send you a automated templated email saying thank you for your inquiry.
Yeah. And then I may not hear from anybody. No, for sure. And there was an obsession about. You're right. We cannibalized the whole thing. It got butchered because then what happened with live chat is there became this industry obsession around response time.
Yes.
And then it was like gaming the response time became a thing, and then we automated it. And then we defeated the whole fucking purpose. Are we supposed to swear on this, by the way?
No, it's not Automotive show. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
It's 4-letter words and 3-letter acronyms is what literally makes up the Automotive.
But we butchered it because it all became about response time, and then we automated the response time, and then it was like you got to get back to them in under 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 12 minutes, 8 minutes, 7 minutes, says this stat. And there's all these made-up KPIs that were getting thrown at us, and you're right. And then it just turned into like an automated... We
lost it. We had an opportunity. We had
it was
an
there,
opportunity.
and
it was
then
there.
We lost
it was there. Then we lost it. And now I'm beginning to see it kind of come back again.
Yeah.
And I just pray that we don't lose it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Like I just hope that the entire dealer body doesn't look at this as a lead generation opportunity, but an actual opportunity to have meaningful connections, not only before the purchase, but during the purchase, but way after the purchase.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I think that like dealers really need to audit what their kind of internal operations look like to manage those conversations today. Yeah. Because it's one thing, like a lot of them are like, oh, it's like an app on the salesperson's phone in the showroom or at home. And then if that salesperson's busy or they're working the floor and their showroom up's walking in, like who's actually really responding? Sure. And so, some of the most powerful dealers we see with the best conversions, the best consumer engagements, they've really invested in that BDC center.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I even think even the BDC, so there was another company, and I won't say names, but they're a large lead generation company. Okay, just put this interesting stat out that I saw while we were at the show here, is that over 40% of the leads are coming in are on sold units.
Interesting.
Because inventory's not coming off.
I was just going to say that. What about the syndication feed? Why are the sold units still up?
But that's how fast things are moving, right?
Yeah.
It's like just consumers are moving that fast.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, especially on something that's maybe slightly rare. You
Right,
know,
right.
who knows? Maybe it's like a Lariat, 302 build out or something like that. You know, and it's like, oh, geez almighty, that's actually available.
Yeah.
Right? And then there's 17 leads that come in on it on a single day.
Yeah.
But the cars are sold the next day, anyways. But it takes that. It's 40% of leads coming in, and the cars are already sold. Even on the used car side, it's just that's the kind of speed. Depending on your DMS and how often, like, just because a car's sold doesn't necessarily mean it's get delivered.
Right.
Especially in Canada, you have that kind of 2-3 day period that you're not taking it off your system because you're still working through financier and getting documentation or whatever it is. So there's just this large chunk of leads that are just sitting there. And here's pretty much, I mean, look, the BDC or the salesperson, hey, Mr. Harris, yes, thank you for your inquiry. It's sold.
Yeah. And that's where it ends. You're right. And so based on that, 40, yeah, it is. 40% of them aren't even getting nurtured or followed up with properly. You're right.
100%.
And actually, I just went through that. We've been buying trucks and stuff through this pandemic, buying my wife a new SUV, and it was the same thing. It was a whole bunch of, hey man, sorry, it's sold.
Yeah.
Hey dude, that's sold. No, that Tahoe is no longer available. Thanks. And that was it. It was like that was the end of the conversation. I've never heard from these dealers again. That was it. Nobody actually took the time to, even try to. I don't even think any of them got me on the phone.
No.
I don't think any. And then I threw in the towel and I went to my local dealer and we just put in a factory order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the no follow up and say, hey, yeah, that one's not available. But look, I do have a couple other deals coming in. Those trades are going to be in a few weeks. That might actually fit. It's not a Tahoe, but it's a Suburban.
Right.
All right. Would you be interested in doing that
Right.
instead of this? But there's just no conversation around it right now. It is just so it's strategy, right? And you're going back to the processes, right? Like there's some amazing, conversational commerce tech and technology out there. But look, a tool is only as good as how well we use it.
Right.
So if we're not defining the processes before we look, you can't lean on the tech.
Right.
You got to define the process and then work backwards to the tech so the tech can actually support the process.
Yeah.
But we just kind of seem to be forgetting that,
Yeah.
or I don't get me wrong. There are some progressive dealers out there that do not do this. They actually do a great job of maintaining not only what's coming in through trades, but what's coming so everybody's aware, but also, what maybe they've given appraisals on but didn't able to buy.
Right.
Yeah.
It all goes back to data, Jason. This is what we said at when we first started chatting. Like
Data-driven processes.
100%. Absolutely. Yeah. No, I could not agree more. And look, like what we're focused on at AutoCorp is really enabling dealers with the technology. So we're really focused on credit. We consider ourselves a fintech company. And we're really focused on on that digitizing that financial and credit journey to enable virtual retailing.
Yep.
And there's a difference between virtual retailing and digital retailing because we don't really believe that we're there as an industry for full DR yet. Like if you just look at the amount of cars that are actually sold,
Yep.
In a full DR environment, it's extremely low. But dealers,
I actually think the reason it's extremely low is because not enough dealers are actually doing it.
well, I think that the tech is still lacking too. I think that a true actual checkout. That actually mirrors the real process, what really goes on when a customer buys a car outside of a digital environment. That real talk to the salesperson, negotiate a price, get your trade in appraised, negotiate your trade. That is not properly happening in a digital environment yet. And so I think true checkout, bills of sale, we're not there. We're damn close.
Yes.
But we're not quite there yet. Penny precise payments are really just starting to come out. You got to really tailor the offers to that customer's unique credit and the asset and the rates and programs available, not these generic defaults. And so it's but we're getting there. We are really, really getting there. And so we're focused on giving dealers the ability to virtually sell and virtually interact with that consumer from their house, from their home office, and virtually sell the car and then arrange either an in-store pickup delivery or a home delivery.
Yes.
But there's still there's still the need for the human interaction. Like that's like still the way we sell cars, man, in 2022.
Sure.
And so it's, you know, you hear some people talking like that's not, they're outside of reality. Like they're saying one thing, but you go talk to any dealer, like no, like that's not how we sell cars. That's not how we. And we're sold out, by the way, right? And that's not how we sold them. So
but it's an exciting time to see what's going on. There's so much. There's so much there. Like, I know we're getting towards the tail end of our time because we're pulling up here soon, but I still think there's a lot that needs to happen within the conversation. We probably could easily go another hour on this. But for everybody out there that's watching and listening and maybe would like to connect with you, maybe continue some of these conversations.
Yeah.
What's the best way to connect with you?
I'd say LinkedIn. You know, look me up, Andrew Lemoine on LinkedIn. Here's another thing, LinkedIn. I'll tell you what happened to LinkedIn. My LinkedIn used to be so clean for me. It used to be, my inbox was super clean. Yeah. It was all meaningful connections, mostly auto industry. It's became a junk dumping ground. I don't know about you. I get spammed so much. So I do my best to get back to anybody that reaches out, but I have to filter through a bunch of garbage. But I would say LinkedIn for sure. Anybody could send me an email anytime, andrew@autocorp.ai. But yeah, I would love to connect with any of you and continue this conversation. Like I said, yeah, would love that, man. Hey. I'd love to connect with Matador. So what I would like to do right here, right now on the podcast is just close up this partnership.
Let's do it.
So because I'd like Autocorp and Matador to partner. I think it makes a whole lot of sense. I think that folks need to be able to access the real-time credit information in that chat environment. Does that not make sense?
100%.
Okay, so that's something we can do.
We're doing this.
Okay, we're doing it. That's a handshake. You saw that. Autocorp Matador are now partnered. He's not getting out of this one.
No, thanks for doing that, by the way. Smooth move. All right, man. Hey, thanks again. That was a lot of fun.
It's always fun with you, brother. Thanks, Jason. Cool, man. Boom.
Thanks for tuning in to the Strategy with Jason podcast with your host, Jason Harris. Don't want to miss new content? Be sure to check out the full podcast library at strategywithjason.com to stay in the know. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy podcasting.